This is a case about a passive parent. A parent who didn't make rules, who didn't set limits, and who was more concerned with being a friend to her daughter than teaching her daughter the difference between right and wrong. Now, you may know those parents who let their kids have ice cream for dinner or let their kids stay up late instead of going to bed. But Hayden Duran took it too far with her daughter, Jessie Duran. She knew about Jessie's violent tendencies leading up to what happened on August 18th of 2010, and she did nothing. She let it go and was a passive parent. And as a result, 11-year-old Sydney Park was shot and killed. And Miss Annie Park lost her only child that day. Now, to understand how the events happened, we have to go back to January of 2010, when the Park's home was broken into, and Andy Park decided to purchase a gun for the safety of herself and her family, especially her 11-year-old daughter. But she knew the precautions of keeping that gun stored safely away from the children. She went above and beyond to make sure that they couldn't access the gun or the ammunition. The bullets to that gun were stored on a high shelf in the garage, far out of those 11-year-old children's reach. And the combination to the gun safe stored in a separate room on an unmarked sheet of paper, buried among countless other documents. And the gun itself was stored in yet another room, in a locked safe, unloaded. But it wasn't just any safe that gun was stored in. It was the highest rated safe that she could find. She wanted to take every precaution that she could in keeping that gun stored safely. And it's because of these precautions that Miss Park took that both Andy Park and Hayden Duran felt comfortable leaving Jessie and Sydney home on August 18th while they went to work. But Miss Duran knew something that Andy Park never could have known and couldn't have accounted for. And that was Jessie's long history of violence and obsession with guns. Her violence towards other children at school, not once, not twice, but on 3 separate occasions, telling other children, "I hit you, you're dead." Even going so far as to draw a picture of herself pointing a gun at other children. And what did Hayden Duran do? She let it go. There was no punishment, there was no reprimands. She was a passive parent and did nothing. And on August 18th of 2010, Miss Park couldn't have known that even that highest rated safe she purchased wasn't enough to keep Jessie Duran from making her drawing a reality. When she got the gun, pointed it at Sydney Park, and shot her in the head, killing her within a minute. And this tragic event could have been prevented if it wasn't for Hayden Duran's negligent parenting. Now, we as the plaintiff in today's case bear a burden of proving to you by preponderance of the evidence, simply meaning that it's more likely than not that it was because of Ms. Duran's negligent parental supervision of Jessie that Sydney Park lost her life on August 18th. To meet this burden, we'll be calling 3 witnesses. You'll hear from Andy Park herself, who will tell you that she took every precaution she could and had no idea what Jessie Duran was capable of. You'll hear from Campbell Solo, a child psychologist, who will tell you that Ms. Duran had more than enough notice of her child's behavior and more than enough opportunity to address that behavior, and she did nothing. And you'll hear from forensic investigator Jules Sebastian, who will tell you that it was Jessie's fingerprints and only Jessie's fingerprints on the shell casing of the bullet that killed Sydney Park. And while nothing can bring Sydney back to Miss Park today, at the end of today's trial, my co-counsel will come up here and ask you to offer Miss Park what little consolation we can and find Hayden Duran liable for Sydney Park's death. Thank you.
Thank you. Your opening statement.
Your Honor, before I begin, I only ask that opposing counsel cover the picture of Sydney Park before I proceed with my opening statement.